Great. I really appreciate everybody's patience and for taking the time out today to join us for NovaStore's latest webinar, NovaBACKUP CMon, remote central monitoring of all NovaBACKUP installations from any connected device. My name is Sean Curiel. I'm the marketing director here at NovaStore, and I'm joined by Eric Lamarck, one of our sales engineers. When you call in and talk to our sales team, he might be one of the people you get on the phone that helps evaluate your environment and finds out which product is going to work best for you.
Hi guys.
I've also got John Ferez in the room. He is one of our SMB technical support specialists. You might be one of the people that responds if you file a ticket from our ticket system at support.novabackup.com, which you can always do to ask questions related to the use of NovaBACKUP. We've also got our main phone number up here on the screen in case you need to reach any other department within the company. So moving right along, who is NovaStore? We are a manufacturer of backup and restore software with offices in the USA, Germany, and Switzerland. We've got several years in the industry, completely owner operated and managed. I've got one of the owners right here in the office that I have access to. So it means that we can make decisions rather quickly and be flexible with our customers and our partners. A wealth of experience with 100% backup and restore data protection focus. We don't make any other products here except for backup and restore products and those that are related to our backup and restore products. So it's a fairly narrow focus as far as what we consider ourselves to be specialists in. Development, technical support, and sales, all located here in the USA. When you reach out to one of our technical support team members, you're going to reach a member that is an employee of our company that is working here in the US. And over 100 employees total with all offices included. So I should say I've got the agenda here. I'm about to put up on the screen. As you have questions, feel free to go ahead and type them into your chat window. I might not get to them during the middle of the webinar, but I'll be happy to get to them at the end of the webinar. We'll have a little bit of a Q&A session where you can ask your technical questions to John or any sales and marketing questions to myself as well. So first of all, the CMon concept. What is it? How does it work? You've probably figured out at this point that CMon stands for central monitoring, but really, how is it going to benefit you? And that's where we've got a few use cases that might give you an idea of how this might apply to your environment, your own personal situation. We've got a live demonstration. It's going to be conducted by John Ferez. And most importantly, how do you get it? I'll show you. It's about 2 clicks to get it downloaded to your own device and getting started. I also have something special here at the end for those who are able to hang with us through the end of the webinar. So I won't get too deep into that, but I'm expecting this webinar to go between 30 and 40 minutes. We have it scheduled for 45 minutes, but I know you're all very busy today. So we're going to keep this webinar brief and to the point, and get you hopefully on the road with CMon rather quickly. So NovaBACKUP CMon. So what is the purpose of it? We've got businesses and IT providers out there that are dealing with machines that are spread out over different locations, different offices, different buildings. If you're a small business, it might just be a workstation and some server and a few workstations in a couple different offices. But we've got some of our reseller partners. We've got hundreds of customers with machines spread out all over the place. And the good thing about the CMon is that it works with all of our products. It works with whether you're using a laptop, a simple server, or an advanced server with applications. CMon's going to work with all of those. We've got administrators out there who need to know the status of their data while they're on the go. I know that I'm on my cell phone probably at least as much as I am on my computer, my stationary computer at my desk. So we need to know the status of things as we're on the move. I had a picture up here of a guy in his car racing down the freeway, and I'm like, that's probably not the best idea. We don't recommend checking the status of your data while driving 80 miles an hour on the freeway. Hopefully you at least pull over to the side of the road, check the status of your backups, but it's nice to know that you have that functionality of being able to pull up any connected device and see what's going on with your critical data. So, customers find out about backup issues after it's too late. I think one thing that's going to be critical when you're talking about protecting your data is knowing about problems when they're addressable and you could do something about them. If you know that some files aren't being backed up, that you can make a correction to get those files backed up before somebody needs them and before it turns into a data loss situation. Because when you've got those small problems and they get big, they're often, and turning into a data loss situation, well, then you're talking about an on-site visit, which, takes your time. And what we want to do is try to make things as easy for both our customers and our reseller IT providers, partners out there as possible, so that you're able to manage these backups, at a glance, on the road, and stay one step ahead of any problem. So in a nutshell, what is NovaBACKUP CMon? It's an application. It's a tool that lets you monitor the status of all your NovaBACKUP installations centrally and remotely via a browser window or any connected device or a smartphone. It's actually mobile optimized, so that you can check that status from anywhere. A few of the highlights: web-based, mobile optimized, as I mentioned, wherever you're at, status of backup jobs is one click away. You got everything at a glance. Group creation. This is something that John's going to talk a little bit more about. Very powerful to be able to take, a cross-section of your customers or a group of your customers, computers and set them up in such a way in the CMon that you can access them through a single layer. Be able to react fast, be the first to know and stay in control. Whether it's your boss or it's the customer, or in often cases it's the same thing, to be able to get ahead of the problem and know about the problem first and be able to do something about it before anybody else knows about it. I think that's a pretty major benefit. Reporting, being able to quickly see the status of all of your jobs, and as well as set up alerts so that you can be notified wherever you're at of the status of critical data. Rights and access. This is one thing I really like about the CMon, is being able to define different users of it and give them rights to specific groups, meaning that if you've got say you're a small IT provider and you've got three different network administrators, you can set up the customers that each of them are responsible for as groups, and have them only have access to those groups within the CMon, so that when they log in, they only see the things that apply to them. And so you're you're preventing both overlap, you're preventing double effort. It's just a major advantage that you have there. So I want to briefly show 3 use cases. I'm guessing that some of these probably apply to you. Just to get an idea of who we have on the call today, I wanted to run a really quick poll. And just give me 1 second here, folks. All right, you should see a question up on your screen just asking you, how would you guys best describe yourselves? I know we've got a mix of folks on the call today. We've got a healthy attendance, and if you could click that in there, then it'll just give us a better idea of exactly who we're talking to today so that we can gear it a little bit more towards you, especially when it comes to the live demonstration. Okay, let's see. Looks like about 80% of you have voted. There's just one or two holdouts. I'll just give it another 10 seconds here, and I'll go ahead and put these results up on the screen for you guys, share it with you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close out the poll. And it looks like a vast majority of you on the call today are IT providers, VARs, people that are out there offering different types of products and services to customers. That's great to know. It's a vast majority of you on the call. I see we do have some end user businesses and a couple of you that are at least that are managed service providers, possibly offering different types of monthly services to your customers. Excellent. Okay, so moving right along. The use cases. Whether you're a network administrator that's managing, multiple installations of NovaBACKUP in maybe a couple different locations, you're going to be able to get the facts about those backup jobs from your office, maybe before you come into the office, while you're at work, after you go home, or maybe while you're sitting in traffic. I know I spend a lot of time in traffic on my commute here into the office in the morning, often checking emails and so forth. So just to be able to have that, walk in the door in the morning and know that you're not walking into a firestorm, there's definitely a major benefit to that. Use case number 2, I think this probably applies to a lot of people that are on the webinar today. Maybe you're for example, an IT provider. They might have around 20 customers installing NovaBACKUP as their server backup solution. With CMon, you can monitor all those clients remotely after you leave their location for instant status on backup jobs. You can set up notifications. You can set up alerts to notify you of issues, and that's going to save those unnecessary trips that you've got that you might have had in the past, where you've had to go out to a customer site just to realize they just had their backup job set up wrong, or something relatively simple. I know that when we call a lot of our partners to touch base with them, they're very rarely in the office. They're very rarely sitting at their desk. They're generally out on site. They're in a meeting or they're on the road, and so we imagine that this is probably the case for you as well, and that's what this tool has been designed around. I've also, if you see that there's a section in the webinar today called Handouts, I have a case study there that you can download to your desktop that shows one of our customers who's using the CMon very similarly to this, and it may apply directly to you. Other handouts on there, I included both the video files that show the installation and the setup of clients of the CMon. Those are a little bit bigger files, to warn you. I think one's 45 megabytes and the other one's probably 20 something. And they're also available on YouTube, but I wanted to get those to you directly in case you needed those on your desktop. So in this use case, your office is everywhere. You take your customers with you. And the third use case, and the final use case that I've got in the presentation today, I'm sure there's more to be found, but managed service providers sell specialized software to doctors and dentists. They offer their software with a full service contract, and in order to provide remote backup monitoring services, they integrate the CMon and NovaBACKUP 18 into their offerings. We've got a number of our resellers that are focused on the healthcare industry specifically, and they're doing this. We want you to be able to have your customers focus on what they do best. It's probably not backup. Your customers want to focus on whatever they're making money at, and we want you to be able to do the same thing. We have something specifically for our managed service provider partners. That's not really what this webinar focuses on, But if you are somebody who's offering monthly services and are interested in those kinds of recurring revenues, I'd like you to send us a quick email over to msp@novastore.com, and we can get you a little bit more information on something special we have for that. So at this point, I believe we are at the section of our webinar where we're going to go ahead and conduct our live demonstration. So if you could just give me one moment, folks, I'm going to go ahead and hand the controls over here to John Ferez.
Hey, John, I'm with the technical support team here at NovaStore. I'm going to give you the live demo of the CMon. CMon is an application that's installed on one of your servers in your environment. You could actually use a VM for this, any physical machine that's running Windows Server 2008 or higher. It's pretty minimal system requirements, 4 gigabytes of memory, should have a dual core on that computer, and at that point it's a small web browser and a MySQL database containing that information. So like I said, that could be anywhere in your environment. It should be on a machine that's up 24 hours a day so that you can connect to a 2 monitor and all the clients can push their data to it. So that could actually be installed on the same computer that you have NovaBACKUP on, just one of your random servers, that may be one of your faster servers, I would say. So we'll just go ahead and we're logged into it here. It's an HTML5 based system, which means you could use pretty much any modern web browser, including your Android, iOS phone, iPad even. So Internet Explorer, see about 8 or 9, Google Chrome, Firefox, any of those kind of web browsers you should be able to utilize to log into it and monitor. So right here, when you first log into the CMon, you have a dashboard. And this dashboard is just a quick, single pane of glass overview of your environment. It can be configured to how you like it. So you could say, for instance, just show failed jobs right away or successful jobs right away in this kind of view here on the right side. You have all of your agents. Agents in the CMon are basically NovaBACKUP installations, so NovaBACKUP client software, backup software that's installed in your environment, and it's reporting back to the CMon all the status. So on the right side, you have all of your agents connecting. These are the latest connections that have been made. They are sortable. All these fields are sortable here to show you various statistics. On the right side, you have a way to show the backup types. So at some point, you'll see image in this list. If we show all entries here, you'll start seeing some images on the. Let me just move this window out of the way so you can see that. So you have image backup here. You have regular file backup on the very right side there. Now, some of the things you can do on this dashboard screen includes this kind of pie chart here, which has categories of backups. And if I click right in the middle of this display, it's going to give me a way to configure the amount of days to look back for, as well as a customizable field on the right side. That'll show you all of your backups that have been contained in that time period. So if we click on 30 days here, we're going to see that chart update. And if I just simply hover over these categories, I'll see a number of jobs, the number of jobs that have warnings, failed, completed successfully. And NovaBACKUP does have a high standard of successful backups, and that's why we have a kind of a categorized view here. Failed backups could even be a backup that had one file that failed to back up. So it's not really considered to be, I would say, a complete failure. You can still restore all those files other than that one that did fail. So keep that in mind. If I click inside the category, you'll see on the right side that it will pop up the actual entries. All of these entries are clickable, so I can go in here and let's see if I can expand this. Yeah, so you can click on any of those entries that are in that list, anywhere actually in any of those fields. So even on the date, the backup type, it'll pop up the log. As you see here, there's a log that says successful. This was a test backup that was run let's see, today at 11:16. So these are by default, it'll show you the latest entries. So that's considered a successful backup there. You can see it was 237 megabytes. I'll close that. So that'll all these fields are clickable. So like I said, if I want to take one of these categories away, I just want to see a particular category, I can actually click on all these fields. If I just want to see successful, I can go ahead and uncheck all these guys here, and this is just all the successful backups. If I want to also include ones that have warnings in them, and warnings can be informational messages. So one example would be you have, say, multiple connections to your NAS. That's an example of a warning. It doesn't mean anything went wrong. It's just going to be something that you can look for and investigate. And then we'll move on to the next. We have a dashboard screen here, so you can bring that up just by single left clicking on the sidebar. And the next category is going to be agents groups. Sean already mentioned some information about groups, but basically when you first start off with CMon, you have a pending group. That pending group gets all of your agents connecting to it by default, and then you can, from within the CMon control center here, add groups and then move all these agents or whichever agents you want to those particular groups. So if you're a managed service provider, you could have company A, company B, company C groups created, and then one by one individually move those agents into those groups so that you can have a much easier way of going forward now. And then later on we're going to discuss alerts. So it is important to have groups assigned if you are a managed service provider because it'll just make it that much easier to do, say, alerting on particular groups later. So we'll give you an example of creating a group here. So add group, and we're going to name this, let's see, System A, or let's just make it Company A, if I can spell today. And then click Add here. Group added successfully. So if we wanted to give you an example of moving the top computer or the top backup software into that group, you can double click on the machine name QAVM and then go ahead and click on group and then set the company there, or the group there, and then click update, and that just moved it in. Click OK. So you can see there it just happens instantaneously and then it refreshes the screen. So that's your example of creating a group simply. Now you can create groups within groups. So I can do add group here again, pick the parent group, Company A, give it section, let's just see, section 1 for an example. So that'll create a group within a group.
So what might be an example of where somebody might want to do a group within a group, John?
Say if you had multiple, say, server rooms or yes, server rooms, for instance. So you could have Company A and then the West Wing, server room, the East Wing server room, and then if you had 5 machines within each one of those data centers, you could move those agents into those particular sections or sectioned off groups.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then we also have a reporting feature here, so you can just quickly and easily print out a report of your agency group screen. So basically it's just extrapolating that data and then allowing you to print it out. You could go to PDF or you could go straight to printer there on that. You can also go straight to a Excel file just with a CSV report option there. So that's one example of your agency groups. Now any of these agents can be double-clicked on to see more information about them. So for instance, you can see the version of NovaBACKUP, the license key, the flavor, meaning if it's PC, server, or business essentials, and all of those subsets of the software can be connected to the CMon. So no matter which SMB software you purchase, you can connect it to the CMon. You do have to keep in mind though, the CMon will only work with version 18 and above. CMon started out with version 18, and that's why we have that requirement. So it is new software to our company. We are still working on it and expanding on the feature sets.
And so an agent would basically be any NovaBACKUP installation, whether it's a laptop or a server. That's what we're calling an agent is a NovaBACKUP installation. Is that, I just want to make sure that we're being very clear with our audience.
That's right, yeah. So it's basically the agent is an installation of NovaBACKUP on one of your computers. And your one computer cannot have multiple agents. So it's a single agent. And so you may have, for example, 30 installs of NovaBACKUP, whether it's PC, server, or Business Essentials. They can all be configured, as long as they're version 18 and above, to report to the CMon and work with the CMon. So no matter if it's PC, your simple PC product can report to here. Now, and then that's a good example, because if groups, we're talking about groups, you could categorize your groups even into the flavor of NovaBACKUP. So a PC group, a server group, and a Business Essentials, and then section it out even from there on like location. So it's important that we bring up groups, because the CMon is the first monitoring tool that we've had at NovaStore that's very flexible in the reporting features and the alert features, in that you can group things off. So before, it was you could do some sort of monitoring, but it was kind of an all or nothing. You just get an alert one time of all your agents. So this is the first one that's kind of expanding on that. We're moving on to the users and roles area. This is where you could configure CMon for other users in your environment that don't necessarily need to have admin rights. So they can't change anything. They can't delete configuration values. Or even add roles or groups. So one example would be for if you're going to be away on vacation, but you still want to have somebody monitoring this interface, you would give them like a read-only access to it, so they can't actually change anything to do with the CMon. They can still do reporting, and this is very granular. So if we go in to add a new user here, you'll see what we can do. It's very powerful. So let's just create a new user here. Susie, and give it a password. Bear with me on this. These are the default roles that we have, but these roles are completely customizable, as well as you can add roles to this set of roles that already exist. So if I want to just give Susie like read-only access, I could probably do it just with the auditor and not have to do anything else other than that. Email address, I'm not sure if that's needed, but we'll just do that. Click add here. Actually, yeah. Click add. Require description. Okay, she is a read-only user. Okay, user added successfully. So we can go in here on the right side and view properties. You can edit that user, lock her out, enable her, set up the groups. So I can just have Susie monitor company A. If Susie's only with company A, I can say I only want her to have company A, or even down to the section that we created underneath company A. So let's just give her company A access and update that.
Yeah, this is powerful, John. I could so maybe an IT provider, they could create accounts for other customers and just give them read-only access if they wanted to,
That's right,
whatever access they wanted to. And then those customers could themselves log in and check the status if they wanted to give them that access.
They could. You could give them this web address, as long as you do, your diligent firewall, port forwarding and things like that. They could actually access this. And if you guys are all on a VPN, then there's nothing extra to do. You're just giving her this web address, actually. And then you have here the roles screen. Roles we have some built-in roles, and like I said, the read-only one would be just the auditor one, but you can see what properties that has just by hitting the little kind of eyeglass-looking icon there. And you can see the check marks are showing what they can do. None of these are configurable until you go in and edit them, because this is just a view role function. So if I do an edit role here, I can take away, subtract things that they can do. Let's see, one of them would be, if I don't want them to do reporting at all, I can uncheck that box. And reporting is something we'll go into on the next screen, but if I want them to not be able to see certain things, you can uncheck them there and then save the change, and then that's instantaneous the next time they refresh. They're going to be limited to those. You can do the edit on those to uncheck them. And you can add a role, so I can completely customize a brand new role, not one of the built-in ones, and only give them access to, say, view job history and logs and jobs. And that's taking care of that users and role area. We're going to move on to the configuration. Configuration is just basically how the CMon operates. And so, for instance, if I want to limit how many logs are coming from the agents, I can set that number here. It's defaulting to 100 logs, so 100 of the latest logs per backup software that's reporting to the CMon are what's going to be showing up here. You could expand on that or subtract from it. Other things you can do is how many days you want to keep logs for, and various functions like how you want this. You do have to log into the CMon, and that's what was covered under the agents and groups. And so you can set a timeout value for that, or subtract or expand on that timeout value. Dashboard tab here is just how that dashboard looks when you initially log on. So when your users initially log on to it, this is the category of backup that it shows failed right now. You could even do started. Started is the backups that have actually just then started. It'll show you if all 5 of your backups are running at the time. Successful, failed, stopped, warnings here. And then the number of days to go back. So when we first logged into it, it was 90, and then I changed it to 30, and that's what updated that value here. And then down below you can see on the dashboard screen it had a category at the very bottom, and it was only showing pending. And like I said, pending is the group that all your agents get put into it first thing before you do customizable groups. So if you do add groups later, you do want to check these boxes. So I'll go ahead and check them now. And then the next time I go back to the dashboard, we'll see those Company A and Section 1 show up there at the bottom half of the screen. So you can see there's Company A. There's 2 jobs, because we did move that one agent. If you remember, we did move that one agent into Company A, so it's going to be showing that there. And then, so we're going to move on to the next section. It's going to be alerts. Alerts is very powerful in the CMon. If you were a user of the CMC before, you didn't have this capability at all. CMC is our older monitoring product, and the CMon is what replaced that. So you do have the capability of creating all the alerts, meaning email alerts, inside the CMon, so you actually don't need to touch the backup software at all if you don't want to create email alerts on your jobs. So whether it's a failed job, a successful, completed, with warnings, completed failures, you can completely granularly set that now and create alerts. So we're going to create a new alert, and we're going to say I want to alert on all types, whether their job status, whether they're successful or not. And next item is your group. So for those people that are managed service providers, you're going to probably want to create an alert per company that you're dealing with. So and if you're the administrator of the CMon, you probably just want to make an alert for everything. So we'll just do everything here. And everything's selected. And then you have a condensed alert. You have a daily condensed alert. You have a weekly. And every time I click on one of these, it's going to give me the day and time to set for. So if it's weekly, I have a choice of the days, and then it's going to send the alert on once a week basis. Monthly, you have the first of the month to the end of the month here to set. And then immediately is kind of like if you're used to the email alerting inside NovaBACKUP client software, that's always going to be immediate. The email notification that you have inside the backup jobs is considered immediate. So you can do all that alerting, meaning the email notification, from within CMon. Now you don't even have to touch the backup software. And the subject and body line is now configurable. You didn't have a way to do that from within the backup software. So pretty powerful. Set up alerts to only go to particular groups or subgroups. And you can, like we showed prior, you can even drill down and say, I only want to alert on particular status of jobs. So if it's only failed, I can customize this alert with a subject line that says such and such company A only failed backups, and it will do a weekly or a daily or an immediate send of that. Configuration is where you set up the custom SMTP send mail server if you have your own SMTP server. But luckily with NovaBACKUP, the newer versions of NovaBACKUP and CMon, we have our own built-in SMTP server that uses NovaStore's services to do the sending of the email. So there's actually nothing really to configure other than the sending email address or addresses. Next thing we're going to hit on is the reporting function. Reporting is brand new to the monitoring interface. So I can say I want to report on company A. Actually, let's just do select all because I don't have much in the company A yet. and then select all here. So all of our agents are going to be selected. And this is nice because you can drill down to a particular type of backup. We'd never had this before, so you can say image backup only reporting. And let's just go back to maybe May 1st and up until today and do a search of those images. So these are only image jobs. And you can see on the bottom here, it's going to show the agent name, the number of failed images, and the dates that those occurred. You can hover your mouse over these, the graph here, to see what date ranges those were occurring in. And on the right side, you kind of have a colored key of what's what here. So if I want to do, say, I have a lot more backup jobs than I do have image jobs, so I can say backup for this month, very simply. Okay, search report, and you see 194 were successful, or say 199 were successful, 1 not completed, 12 with warnings. So it's just basically a way for you to do a quick summary of your backup status. And the help menu will take you to the manual. That's a PDF form manual. That's going to download and show in your web browser, or if you don't have the Adobe PDF, you can download the PDF straight to your desktop, for instance. Other than that, that takes care of the CMon demonstration. Hand it back to Sean.
I just wanted to jump in. Hi guys, this is Eric. Because from the ground level, I deal with a lot of you partners as an account, as your partner management and your channel manager, and it's great to see the granular requests that you've made to me and we've made to our team, providing you this all-inclusive value that is making your life easy. So we're listening to you, and it's great to see this monitoring tool in addition come alive.
Thanks, Eric. So this is Sean, everybody, and I'm going to go ahead and take back over control here. I only have a few more slides left, so I'm going to get moving along here, but how do you get it? So we haven't even talked about that. So if you're in front of your, a browser window right now, I would really, I would love to show you how easy it is to get this software. If you could just bring up your browser window, go to NovaBACKUP.com. I'm already there, but I'm going to type it in anyways. NovaStore.com. NovaBACKUP.com. Click on Products and Central Monitoring, and you should see a button that says Download it for free, right? Name, phone number, email address, and which best describes you. And that's going to be it. So getting this product is pretty easy. It's something that we are including for the use of NovaBACKUP 18. Again, it works with NovaBACKUP 18. If you already have NovaBACKUP 18 clients, it's going to function. If you have earlier versions, you might be wanting to look at upgrade. If you have NovaCare support, you're going to have a free upgrade. And if you're out of support, then we can get you back to current so that you can get back up on 18 and use the CMon. Why are we including this? Because we want to give the value to you guys. As I said, you have the install video that you can pull from the handouts. You can also find that on our YouTube channel as well. And I've spoken to our web development team and asked them to get a form up on this CMon landing page that asks for your guys' feedback, because we understand that this is a new product. It's not going to have maybe every feature that you would like to see immediately, and it's something we're constantly going to be developing, making adjustments to, adding features to, and so we need to hear from you guys. And find out what it is that's going to be helpful to you. Really quickly, I'm going to turn on my webcam here for just a second. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to show you, I've got the CMon here running up on my phone. It is optimized, It is optimized for use on handheld devices, smartphones. So kind of looking into a mirror here, doing it backwards, but at least you can see proof of concept that it's very easy to check the status of backups while on the go. Let me get back to the presentation here. Just have a couple more slides before we go ahead and wrap things up for today. I just wanted to review briefly, we've got 3 products that are out there for you. Our bread and butter is the NovaBACKUP Business Essentials, which is going to cover your servers, whether they're physical or virtual, have virtual machines on them. It's going to have those extra plugins and technology for Microsoft SQL and Exchange backups, as well as those VMware and Hyper-V backups. You can purchase that as a full perpetual license where you own it, the single purchase of $5.99, or we also have a subscription plan at $2.99 a year. If you have servers that are just more straightforward file servers without that needing that extra capability for the applications, we have NovaBACKUP Server at $3.49, also available as a subscription, and we've got NovaBACKUP PC, which is available as a subscription from directly from our website. So you have 2 ways basically you can buy our server products directly from us, and if you're a reseller, it's the same thing. We've got those. You can buy and purchase those products through our partner portal, through distribution, and we also have a way for you to get those subscription products if that's a method that you want to do.
And guys, while we're here, we might as well just discuss the licensing, because I know in speaking to a lot of you, you may have a customer that has a SQL server and have Hyper-V, and in that hypervisor they may be running 4 virtual servers. If those virtual servers do not have SQL or Exchange and you don't want the granularity, you can have one license that would of Business Essentials that would cover the host and the 4 virtual machines. For example, a web server, that's a virtual machine. An Active Directory, that's a virtual machine. A domain controller, that's a virtual machine, as well as a file server. One license, simple, easy to do business with, and as Sean had indicated, and I hinted when I first jumped in talking about CMC, we are listening to you guys with the monitoring tool. The new monitoring tool is exciting to see come alive, and it's exciting to watch where it's going to go.
Great. Thanks, Eric. And, before, I know you probably have some questions about the CMon itself, and John's still here in the room. We're going to get to those questions in just a minute. But I want to say, if you look up our NovaBACKUP Business Essentials product and the capability that it has, and you look at maybe a couple of the other competitors out there on the market that are offering similar products, really just the value, I think, you're going to see in terms of what we have to share versus what some of the other people are doing, maybe in charging for, every database or charging for extra features or capability. We kind of believe that, you should have everything in the product that you buy without being, nickel and dime for extra things. So like we showed you, we have two server products, with the NovaBACKUP product line, and as well as our workstation product.
Sean, if I can jump in again, I see the service and support that goes on from total disaster failure being recovered to a piece of dissimilar hardware to a single file. We are entirely supported here in California. We're between Los Angeles and Santa Barbara, very close to Malibu. So when you're calling into our office, additionally, you are calling into the United States here in California.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned, we've got a model to serve you, whether it's perpetual, subscription, or backup as a managed service. So I do have a promotion that I wanted to share with just the people that are still on the webinar with us today. But before we get to that, I think we should probably field some of the questions we got out there. I apologize that we haven't got to them before now, but we'll get to them right now. Could a franchisor use this? This is from Wayne, John. He's asking, could a franchisor use this to monitor and control the backups of its franchisees where the franchises own the individual NovaStore software? I think the answer to that is yes.
Yeah, that's definitely a yes on that one.
Maybe we covered that after you asked the question, Wayne. Sorry about that. But that is one of the major use cases for this the software. So if you have more specific questions in relation to that, definitely reach out to myself or Eric. Installing agents, can they be assigned to a group at install?
That is something that we're looking at incorporating, but at the moment, no. You have to create the groups once you have the CMon up and running, and once that agent does connect. And like I said, it does go to the pending group right away now, and that is something that we are definitely looking on getting in place. So.
That was a question from Dwayne. Dwayne also asked, will the MSP offering use the same CMon dashboard? And I believe the answer to that is yes. Really, the difference with the MSP offering is a little bit more on the financial side, as to, we've got something to make it, maximize the profitability basically for the MSP. So we can tell you a little bit more about that. Dwayne's also asking about push installs. I don't believe that's something we have at the moment. We are, talking to our development team about that in coming releases, but that's exactly the kind of feedback that we're looking for, is those types of feature requests. Does the subscription include NovaCare? Absolutely, it does. The subscription is long, is a no commitment on the subscription. You can cancel at any time, but while you are part of the subscription, you have NovaCare, which means you're going to get the updates, you're going to get upgrades, you're going to have access to both email support and telephone support, and that's, we feel that's pretty important, because you don't want to get on an outdated piece of software and have a new operating system come out and that software not be ready to handle it.
I saw one question too. Everybody will receive the slide deck as well as the promotional opportunities that we have.
Absolutely. I see a couple other questions related here to MSP. I think Anthony has a question about that. Anthony, I'm going to get back to you directly on that one. I see some questions about dedupe. We do have a product separate from NovaBACKUP, which relates a little bit more to dedupe. We can tell you about that a little bit more directly, Dwayne. That looks like it's about the extent of our questions for today. I want to go ahead and share you this promotion with you guys. You've spent your time with us. We are 5 minutes over at this point. I want to go ahead and cut you loose. You can always get you at just Eric at NovaStore.com.
Eric at NovaStore.com, or this is my direct line. I'm happy to talk to you guys about any type of environment. Maybe give me 5 minutes to get back to my desk, and I look forward to assisting you for the rest of the day. I've allocated myself as a resource as well for those that would like a possible product demo, and I look forward to servicing you. It is a pleasure, and it's an opportunity. So we thank you for your business, and thank you most for your partnership for our value-added resellers as well.
Thank you all, and I will add that there is a short survey that will follow after we end this webinar. If you give us some feedback, then we know how we can do a better job next time, and show you the information that's going to be most applicable to you guys. And again, thank you for your time, and have a great Friday.